Hey, all here. I ain't know today, I telling you, I ain't know today. I ain't know today. I ain't know today, no. I ain't. Let me tell you about my day. My day is typically 19 hours long, and it shames me to say that because the return on that investment is, let me just hope it's a nest egg and it will bear fruit in the future. As a matter of fact, take a moment right now and bow your head and just send some energy, some positive vibes. Say, Lord, rest a hand, rest a fruitful hand deep inside a Richard business. Amen. We ain't gonna go into what the business is. Not because I ain't want to tell you, but because it's still developing. But we will get there. And even if it is we don't, we're gonna have one hell of a time getting there. One way or the other, we're gonna have some fun out of this shit called life. But I start with a digression. So you don't even know what we're talking about yet. You don't even know where we're coming from. But you know what? I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you like the vibe. And just trust me, relax. We will get to where we're going. But I sit down today and I read the paper. And I really wanted to try to find the some more time. But my day is already spoken for. And the newspaper was just funga. Just I know what's going on inside of there. And now it was time to do the rant. And I like, but I would talk about the funga the paper. I can't do a whole rant on that. Especially since we already do three murderer. But at the end of the day, these people and them like they ain't no kind of flicking pride in themselves. How you guys the shit you printing? Normal. So I know that it might have things that we don't understand, and from the outside it's easy to criticize, but at the same point in time, that your name going there next to the article. Anyway, thank you for tuning in to yet another edition of Richard's Rant. A pleasant, sincere good morning to you and yours and sundry. As you know, the morning is the best part of the day. When you wake up, everything is okay, nothing has gone wrong yet. You might have some fears, some inadequacies, and some anxieties inside of your head, but it hasn't happened yet. You could still change it, modify it, fix it. No contingency plans come out as yet. You don't have to watch anybody as yet and just smile. Well, I know what's going on in your marital bed. I hope it's okay. And everything just cool. First thing you wake up, you ain't had to restrain yourself from telling somebody how the mother make them and how you gonna unmake them. You don't have to remember your Jesusness. And that, especially in these times, is the spirit that I'm wishing for you when I say good morning and welcome to another edition of Richard's Rant. At the time of this recording, our Prime Minister would have just, well, not really just, not just, like just-ish. It's a couple days after the second lockdown. And I'm calling it a lockdown because you calling it a lockdown. I don't think it's a lockdown because the first lockdown was a lockdown. That was a whole... This one is just a... So, because the first one, if I remember correctly, you couldn't go nowhere, everywhere was closed, you could only go in the grocery only in certain time, and I no business, and I know nothing, just go inside, stay inside. The virus outside, the virus coming, it will kill you, the virus. So, it coming. Yeah, so we was inside, and this one, you just locked down certain things, right? But the impression that I get in from the socials, because I don't listen to the press conferences, because as I explained to you in the beginning, I have my 19-hour day, and I don't have the time. Especially since you all will tell me everything on the socials anyway. And it seems as though Daddy Rowley come out, with a big stick. That's the impression I get in. I would hope not. And he blaming people. The reason why we had to lock down the country is because they wouldn't listen. I would hate to think that that is exactly any form of accurate. Because at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, you can't talk to me, so I employ you. And even if it is, we don't need to go hierarchy and stuff, human to human. I want you to talk to me with the same respect as who you just talk to she. What's she name? Sharon? Rowley? Not after dark, eh? I mean during the course of the day. You don't speak to me, so at the end of the day, you need to remember that the 250,000 electorate is the dog and use the tail, and the tail is close to the ass. So if it is you don't check yourself, you're going to end up in shit. Alright. So I would hate to think that that is how it is here at Trust the Nation. Now the next thing that I'm trying to figure out is the purpose of the lockdown. Now I know, don't get me wrong. I know that we have to do something, but I feel as though the lockdown may not be that something, or maybe it needs some tweaking, some polish, some modifications. Because my limited pedestrian understanding of a virus without a host, it can't. It even uses the host energy to replicate. So when a man contract a virus, that's the closest thing we could get to being pregnant, because it's taken everything from the body, like a baby, a virus baby. Now, there are many viruses that we are familiar with. The rhinovirus is the common cold, and I believe influenza. Then you have, HIV, you have chickenpox, your granny might have rubella, you have a little mumps along the way, you have herpes. And, we could focus on chickenpox and herpes. I don't know exactly who you had a piece. I would hope that nobody had the both of them from the same person, since they're both communicable. But the reason why it is I group them together is because it's my understanding that some viruses have a latency feature, like herpes. It would live inside of your cells, where it would hide from the antibiotics that you're taking. And, when it's ready, it would jump out. And as far as I know, the same is for chickenpox. And, the same is for the common cold, the rhinovirus. When the conditions are right, it jump out. But chickenpox doesn't jump back out, but it does stay within your body, which is why it is I chose chickenpox. Again, as far as I know. Now, after you get chickenpox for the first time, and you would have been vaccinated, your body learns to make the antibodies, and as such, you would be protected. But the virus doesn't leave you, from what I understand. So, if it is, the borders close. Well, we know it closed, but it opened just a crack. Like when you're tucking your child into sleep in the night and they say, close the door. No, just leave it open a little bit, for a little light to come in from the hallway. And it's that little light in the hallway that Gary Mazzy used to fly to Ireland with he and he woman to see his child and then bring the child here and then carry the child back. And Gary's the only one that I know about. I don't even know how much others, but if it is Gary do it, I mean, hey, birds of a feather do flock together as well. They also do that. So I am pretty sure it's not him alone that yeah. However, if it is the borders are closed, and they have been for the longest while, let me address the borders closed situation before. Let me address the borders closed. Because when it is Corona that first touched down into existence, we had the last carnival, and I hope it's not the last one, but we had carnival. We had foreigners here, all of we was whining together and dragging we ass on the ground and drinking various libations, and we did not die. We didn't die. And that's another thing that people not looking at, right? Rowley had the virus, he's still here antagonizing me mother cunt. And at this point in time, plenty people looking at India. But what you're not looking at is India have a quarter of the world whole population. And I'm not going to finish this sentence with, some of them could die. But what I'm actually going to say is that the percentage of the people that get the virus compared to India population is really small. Also, the people that die from the virus, even smaller. Even smaller. And if it is the newspaper wasn't so funga today, they would be showing us information like this. But coming back to the virus with the latency now. If it is the borders closed and the Minister of Hines National Security, the new one, is saying that the porosity of our borders is not to be blamed. All right, Heinzie. So, where the ass the virus come from? Hmm? And the reality is that whether the borders lock or they open, the virus is here. It clearly appears to have a latency feature. Or maybe it doesn't, because I did do a quick Google search and not a lot of information on that came up. So maybe it didn't. And I've heard that it have experiments that they did where they tested a whole bunch of people and then let them commingle and then test them again and the virus wasn't there. Right? So maybe it do have a latency period. Maybe it is the porosity of the borders. But regardless of, even if it is the porosity of the borders, at some point in time, we will fly again. Sorry, Caribbean Airlines would fly again. I'm a senior millennial, right? I apologize. Some of you all listening did SCA, I did common entrance. Okay? Alright. So, computers was making when I was growing up. Alright? It was being born. Computers and I is about the same age. Okay. Anyway, yeah, the internet not that old. And Google just turned 18, which means I am 17 years older than Google. Oh, look at that. Anyway, at this point in time of doing this rant, the fact that all the newspaper have in it is that nonsense going on and on and on, and whether it come from outside or it come from inside or it come from on the side or it come from on the cross, and right now people suffering. Let me break it down in simple maths, right? If it is you working for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, you could buy 30, 40 or 50 things total for the month, because every fucking thing this costs about $100. Everything. And okay, fine, things doesn't literally cost $100. Okay, time you put gas in your car if you have one, because at $3,000 you don't. And so you travel and you come back, that's $100. So 30, 40 or 50 things. And this man come on the Kiss Me Ass TV on a Thursday. You getting paid every week Friday, and you live in week to week, and tell you not only is your pay short this week, but you have nothing to get for the next couple of weeks. What kind of assness is that? Because it had a spike. What kind of assness is that? And right now they're saying for big companies like Prestige Holdings to pay them. Why? Prestige Holdings done close up? I find the government should pay the workers. Because last I checked, them getting the full pay with benefits throughout the whole of COVID. Why them in pay? I think the whole pay should be donated towards a stabilization fund for the minimum wage worker that was negatively impacted by COVID and their decisions. And what they should do is hire some traders to take the money and go on and trade on these things that trending now and multiply it and whatnot and give the people some money. Because even if it is we take their whole salary, they still have all the benefits uninterrupted, unencumbered, all. So it's probably easy to feel like daddy when it is you have everything going for you. Maybe it is. But daddy need to take care of each other. And most importantly, he need to understand that we are not children. Maybe it might be time to let the adults make the decisions and stand the consequences for themselves as well. I don't know what's going on with these minimum wage workers, and then on top of that, these blasted children home that they make breaking shit and eating shit. It had no school feeding. They had no school feeding going on. All that on the parents' shoulders now. And on top of that, they had to buy data plan and all kind of thing for internet. When it is, they should be at least going in the blasted library when the day come. But the library must have Zoom block on it because that would be a distraction. And if it is they had to work, who watching the children? And the person who watching the children, you had to feed them too, because you know they're coming up in your place and you know they're going to eat in your house. It's like nobody thinking about the bigger picture. And when these lower income persons, including myself, don't have money to make ends meet, what we will do? How many people die from violence and stuff in this country as opposed to how many people die from corona? Is it that we're trying to plug one hole by uncorking another? What we doing? I ain't gonna lie, this rant's really difficult to do because I feel as though nobody paying attention to the bigger picture, and somebody in some kind of pissing contest and all of them have prostate issues. I just don't understand. And it's like people that matter kissing up to them. I don't know if they get promised some kind of contract or what, because the charm come out and say, oh, how it is. They don't stand with the business community, and the business community need to understand that the steps being taken is not only to protect them, but to protect their customer base and their employees. Bullshit. But what I was wondering though is that right now it have pictures circulating that KFC have a food truck, Rituals have a food truck, since they closed the restaurants, but the vendors open, so they're going into vending. Fantastic loophole if you ask me, but there are other loopholes, or I'm missing something. As far as I know, the Public Health Ordinance Act said that all businesses or all restaurants, one of the two, need to be closed by 10 p.m. Now I know for a fact all businesses are not closing at 10 p.m. Call centers not closing at 10 p.m. for example. And to me it doesn't say what time your business had to open. So why it is here and close your door at 10 and open back at 10:01? Alright, that will be antagonistic. Open back at 2, open back at 3, 4, 5. As a matter of fact, I don't know why BAT didn't come up with that. The Bar Owners Association of Trinidad and Tobago. We are Juve Culture. Open at 3 a.m. We will all come and get our spirits before we go to work for the day. Normal, and we will be socially distant. So I don't know if it's about just finding loopholes, or if it's... All I know is that this not sustainable. It's just not sustainable, and nobody seems to be looking at the bigger picture. And I think somebody needs to sneeze on the housing. Just for me. Anyway, speaking of vendors, apparently the Vendors Association begging the police to get them at ease up. And I want to know why the ass it is the police troubling these people in these difficult times. They don't have a crime to solve. They never solve the crime who robbed me either time. Why are you interfering and antagonizing these people? You don't know what's going on or what? Do we need to cut your salary? And there's another thing too. Our leaders just really seem to not recognize that you work for us. The only reason why we raise you up is so that you could see the big picture, you know. It doesn't mean you're better than. And if it is your constituent has a vending problem, it means to say that your vending facilities are inadequate. It's not the people to conform to you, it's you to conform to us. If have more vendors than the place could hold, get more place. Don't have the police disrupting people. Why the vendors there? They ain't gonna be there if they wasn't making money. They wouldn't be there if they wasn't making money, and they wouldn't be there making money if it had a place for them to be in. Is it that you're telling me the facilities that they have for them are empty? Because it's not. We need a whole reality check. And you see these bullies with badges? Time will come. Time will come. The only other thing that I saw in your newspaper, besides Corona this, Corona that, Corona the other, is apparently the European Space Agency. I don't understand why they did a report, but they did. Maybe that's the purpose, maybe that's a thing that they do, but they did a report. Of course, the report is not in 2021. Apparently, the report is from 7 years ago. And Trinidad has depleted or degraded 58.4% of its natural land. And not necessarily like the pitch lake and whatnot, but land. Like how Haiti, when they had the big rebellion and they became independent, they proceeded to then cut down all the trees in Haiti, all to sell and to make fuel. And then all the topsoil run into the sea, and they still can't catch themselves. It seems like we want to be Haiti, but with nicer things, nice dusty things. So the government has initiated some rehabilitation situation, and the reason why I say that is because it had a fancy name. It had all the ministries listed, because you know there's never be one ministry, so I don't know why it is they have them separate in the first place. And I didn't see how much money it costing, and I don't even know why it should be costing money. Why prisoners can't do it? Why it need to cost money in the first place? Entities you could take a data payee leaf and put it in a book and it has grow. So we can get some data payee and plant. What about and bougainvillea, plum, what else? Coconut. What about if we take the prisoners, carry them by the beach, let them clean up all the coconut and thing on the beach, clean the beach in general, separate the dry coconut, and then go and plant it. And nice things like that we don't really see plenty, like dung cereals and sugar apple and mammy apple. What about them things? Why we don't turn it into a farm and make it sustainable agricultural land? Put it under ADB. But I don't even have a degree, I drop out of school and whatnot. So I know if that saved me from getting brainwashed, or maybe I just so deep in my ignorance it germinated into arrogance. But these are the things that just comprise your rant, because I just don't get it. I don't understand. And if you understand, I would love it for you to help me understand. I know, I am pretty sure that by the time this rant is published, we would still be corona, and you'll be scared, and you have loved ones that are in the category, and you'll be concerned. But I need you to accept that to die we must. We have been dying since the day that we were born, and by continuously doing the lockdown as it is in its present form, all we're doing is speeding up that process. Humans need to be social, and we need money. And unless we're going to get handouts, we need money. And so does the government. So there has to be a balance. And do not let any leader, boss, or employer, or anybody that thinks that they are above you disrespect or talk down to you. Have faith in yourself and what you could do, and that you have the capacity to do what you need to do. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Richard's Rant. This one was difficult, not only for the emotion, but because Rowley Obia just wasn't letting me do it. First, the settings was wrong, and I was sounding like I was in a bar, in a safe, under a table. Then I tried to recreate the first one, and all I ended up doing was repeating myself twice. So halfway through the rant, I was like, but I didn't say that. And then when I play it back, I started to hear pieces of what I say, so I just had to do over the whole thing. Even in this one, there's a part of it that the mic was in my ass, I suppose. And there's another thing too. Speaking of my ass, all of you all that are catching your ass like me and making it look good, like you're juggling at this point, be proud of yourself. I'm proud of me. Be proud of yourself. It's not easy right now. It really isn't. And you know what? You have a good day. Make the day as good as you can. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Richard's Rant. Subscribe to the vibe. Comment towards our betterment. Vibes.